The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
ESPN's Mike Greenberg was a guest on the Pat McAfee Show and revealed what his biggest worry is about the upcoming Jet season. Does Greeny have a right to worry? We'll talk about what he said, and I'll give you my thoughts. Plus, the Buffalo Jet fan is going to join us. Lot to talk about, so let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season. Bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jets fans. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure you hit the like button before we move forward. And if you're not watching live, feel free to timestamp in the comment section down below your favorite moments. Today's show is presented by Huga House. I'm rocking a custom Huga House hat right now. You can get the same one by going over to hugahouse.com and use promo code ASMAN at checkout for 15% off. Get the hat that Aaron Rodgers is always rocking. Tyler Conklin, Shane Gillis, plenty of other athletes and entertainers. Check it out, hugahouse.com, and use promo code ASMAN. Get the first hat, 15% off. The second hat, 30% off. Shout out to Huga House for being a part of today's show. All right, let's dive into some comments that were made on the Pat McAfee Show earlier today, and then the Buffalo Jet fan will be joining us in just a little bit to give his thoughts on the state of the team. So Mike Greenberg, longtime Jet fan, of course, Greeny, host of Get Up on ESPN, he was the guest with McAfee, and Greeny was asked what his biggest worry was about the upcoming Jet season. Before I play you that answer, why don't we clear something up that I talked about yesterday? Remember that video of Aaron Rodgers getting some treatment on his foot? He had a blister on his foot. It was obvious. He finished practice and then, guess what? Had a great practice. And Pat McAfee today confirmed what I told everyone yesterday on this show, that Aaron Rodgers is fine and he had a foot blister.
Let's get to your New York Jets now. I got some breaking news from source. Once again, this is journalism. Yesterday, some videos hit the internet of Aaron Rodgers taking off his shoes and his socks. Oh, no, is the Achilles? Is there something wrong with the Achilles? Again, then there was some reps. Was he running at full speed? Did he look like his Achilles was hurting a little bit more? From the source says that I have, blister prevention, potential lingering effects from COVID toe.
Oh, no.
Do not know if this is lingering effects from COVID toe. That is from a anonymous source says.
Yeah. Oh, doom and gloom. The loser Dolphin fans I saw on Twitter yesterday celebrating Aaron Rodgers having a thing to be put on his foot to prevent a blister. I mean, pathetic. Anyway, McAfee cleared it up because his sources, it's probably Aaron Rodgers himself. Now, let's actually get to what Greeny said about what his biggest worry is with the New York Jets for this upcoming season.
And what's your biggest worry about this team right now heading into the season?
I mean, the biggest worry, I think, honestly, is the coaching. The Jets are better. Their roster is better than it was a year ago. Obviously, Rodgers has to be healthy. I mean, the pieces they've added, you don't need me to run over all of the offensive linemen that they got and the one that they drafted and Mike Williams, who they signed. The defense should be absolutely outstanding. They should be by far the best defense that Aaron Rodgers has ever played with. So, A, we need Rodgers to be mostly all the way back. I don't know what is a reasonable expectation for a 41-year-old quarterback coming off of an Achilles, but I don't think he has to be peak Aaron Rodgers. He's going to, the second he walks out on the field, he's going to be the best quarterback the Jets have had in a long time. And so long as he is standing upright, I'm pretty confident he'll be fine. I do worry a little bit about the coaching. I think the jury is very much out on the head coach, on the offensive coordinator, and on everybody else involved. And I count on Rodgers to clean up a lot of that. When he was asked, I forgot what show, someone showed me a clip. He was on a show recently, and they asked him, why should fans trust Nathaniel Hackett? And Aaron's answer was, because I do, and you should trust me. And that's a great answer. I mean, everything about the Jets beyond the talent on the field has to come together because Rodgers pulls it all together. I still believe it all fell apart last year because it was all built around him. He is like the sun, and everything else is orbiting around him.
The hemoglobin. Yeah.
And that's exactly the way it should be. That's the Jets' best chance. We've tried handing this franchise to a lot of different people over the last 50 years. No one's been able to do it. Let's give it to one of the players who's actually proven he knows how to do it, and let's follow him. So I'm 100% on board with all of that, but I think that would be, aside from the obvious injury concerns, which every team has, the Jets have some injury-prone players they brought in, Tyron Smith and Mike Williams and others. Every team has those to some degree. But if the Jets, the start of the schedule is tough. 3 games in 11 days, 2 of them on the road to start the season. I worry a little bit about it starting badly and then some negative vibes creeping in, and hopefully that not becoming a real issue. But all things considered, to answer the beginning of your question, AJ, this is the best team the Jets have had in 20 years, at least. This is better than any of the teams Herman Edwards took to the playoffs, or the one that Eric Mangini did, or any of the teams Rex Ryan took to the AFC Championship game. They have just better players. That's not even debatable. So
he's right about that last part. This is the most talented team the Jets have had since maybe 2010. But the difference is it's Aaron Rodgers versus Mark Sanchez. And while the 2010 team is more talented than some of the teams Pennington took to the playoffs, right? They didn't have a quarterback as good as Pennington. And then you go back to even Vinny in 98. The last time the Jets entered the year with a top 10 quarterback, because Vinny was coming off one of the greatest seasons in the history of the franchise. Maybe if you look at it, the greatest season, at least regular season in the history of the Jet franchise. But Greeny's right. And look, he's right about that aspect. I am not nearly as concerned as maybe some Jet fans are about Nathaniel Hackett, because I trust Aaron Rodgers. It's his offense. He is a master of it. He gets to call what he wants to call. And if he believes in Hackett, they can make it work. There's too much talent for it to fail. And ultimately, I think when you look at what the Jets are trying to do, I go back to Peyton Manning and Adam Gase every time, because it's not that unusual for a Hall of Fame quarterback to have a tight-knit relationship with a coach, and that's that coach's, for lack of a better term, like lackey, like Gase latched on to Peyton. Hackett is latched on to Rodgers. Rodgers is comfortable with him. It could work. It's worked. But this team's got to put up this year. No one wants to hear the excuses if they don't win. Obviously, the biggest worry is the health of this team, the health of Aaron Rodgers. But outside of that, you want to say it's coaching? Okay. But I'll tell you what, they have a hell of a coaching staff on defense. They have a hell of a special teams coordinator. And I think if you give Nathaniel Hackett a healthy Aaron Rodgers, he's not a liability. I'm not nearly as concerned about him as maybe some of the fan base are. So you want to say your biggest concern is coaching? That's fine. Robert Saleh is not perfect. I think he's done more good than bad. I think he's gotten some bad luck. He's got to win this year. But just like Joe Douglas had a bad year last year and then rebounded with a strong offseason, now let's see if Saleh can rebound from a bad season last year and have a strong season, because this team's got no excuses. They have to win. And if they don't win, there should be changes. Because quite frankly, I am sick and tired of watching garbage football. And if you saw my interview with Joe B earlier today on the channel, shout out to Joe Beningo. Funny, we're doing a reaction video to Greeny, and we had Joe B on live today for an hour. So arguably the 2 biggest Jet fans are featuring some of the commentary today on this channel. But if you heard the interview with Joe B earlier, he agrees with Greeny as far as the offseason and the moves. Now it's put up or shut up. We all could acknowledge, any longtime Jet fan, that this roster's stacked. Now they got to win with it. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. One more cut I want to play from the McAfee show earlier today. I think Pat McAfee basically explained to every Jet fan why you should be okay with Nathaniel Hackett as long as Aaron Rodgers is on board. Take a listen to Pat once again on his show earlier today.
With Aaron saying, I trust Hackett, so you guys should. And obviously, you haven't really had the opportunity to watch an entire season of Aaron Rodgers football and everything like that. He very much views like the West Coast offense as like art, and like a painter has to be a part of it. And he and Hackett have grown up in that system together. So like he sees, like he even last year, whenever the offense looked completely inept and everybody was like, what the hell is Hackett? How, does this guy even know what football is after what happened in Denver and then what's happening last year? You talk to Aaron, I think Aaron says, you look at some of those plays, what was supposed to happen would have worked in those. He's not scared to check it down. No. He's not scared to check it to a run. Like he's not looking to throw for 500 yards every single week. He is taking whatever the best option is for that particular play that he knows the offense of inside and out, and so does Hackett. So I think that's why he has come out in such back in response for Hackett, because I don't know how many people know the West Coast offense as well as Aaron and Hackett do. And asking Russell Wilson to be able to do it in 1 year, I think was a tall task. And then Zach and everybody else for the Jets, it's like tall task. I think that's why Aaron's so confident, because he sees the plays differently than how other people that don't understand what they're trying to do and the potential offense that they're trying to run. I think that is why he's like, I trust him. And I think it's going to look different. I do. Not that it's going to look more explosive, but like he's going to make the right decision for the play. And I think that's a head start over other teams just to begin with. So I got a lot of faith, even though he is old as shit now. Yep. I mean, he's the oldest guy, you know what I mean? But I think that helps in this situation, Green.
I agree. And that makes a lot of sense. Because if Rodgers trusts Hackett, then that's all that you really need for this offense to be successful. I think Pat actually summed it up really well. Aaron believes in this offense. And I don't think it's once again a bad thing that Robert Saleh is more involved from a defensive perspective. You heard Joe B give you the nugget that he texted Saleh about Saleh being more involved. I said they should let Beningo call some plays this year, at least in the preseason. It's the least the Jets could do for the pain he suffered supporting this team. But anyway, if you're concerned about the coaching for this team, I get it. They got to prove it. But objectively speaking, this team has proven they have a 7-win floor with no quarterback. Now they have Aaron Rodgers, who's backed up by a legitimate player in Tyrod Taylor. The Jets, and Greeny even said this in the interview, and I've been saying this for months, are equipped to survive Aaron Rodgers suffering a injury. No team is equipped to survive their starting quarterback going down on the 4th play of the season. But if Aaron Rodgers sprained his ankle and had to miss 3 games, Tyrod Taylor is more than capable of being able to go 2-1 with this football team. Tyrod Taylor, to me, is still one of the 25 best starters in the NFL, if not better. I'd take him over Daniel Jones. I would take Tyrod Taylor over any of these rookies. So they are set up to survive a conventional injury to a quarterback. They're not set up to survive the quarterback going down on the opening drive of the season. Nobody is. And as far as the depth on this team, they have a Hall of Famer in Tyron Smith being backed up by a first-round pick and Olu Fashanu. They have a legitimate right tackle who's been an Ironman in Morgan Moses. They have a legitimate Ironman at left guard in John Simpson. AVT is a question mark. Tippmann's been durable in his career. I know he missed a little time last year, but he came back faster than anyone thought. They're equipped to handle some injuries. They're a little thin at receiver. That's a lot of teams, right? Hopefully, one of these guys can emerge, whether that's Corley, obviously, who they drafted. But Gibson is getting rave reviews at OTAs from what I've heard. Brownlee is very highly regarded by the coaching staff. They obviously have some depth at tight end. We keep hearing about Kenny Yeboah. We know about Conklin. We know about Ruckert. This team's got no excuses. The special teams has an elite kicker, an elite punter. The defense is stacked. The only thing that could derail this team is injuries. And if you're going to play the if they stay healthy card, I get it. But I could say that about 31 other teams in the NFL. I promise you, the Texans would suck if C.J. Stroud went down and Davis Mills had to play quarterback for them. How do I know this? I lived it. I talked about it every day. There is no difference between Robert Saleh and DeMeco Ryans. One guy had his GM draft C.J. Stroud. The other guy had his GM draft Zach Wilson. Trust me, I covered the Texans for 6 years when I lived in Houston. You need a quarterback. There's two types of teams in the NFL. Teams that have a franchise quarterback and teams that don't. And if Aaron stays healthy, I still believe he's capable of being one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's better than that. I'm just trying to temper the expectations because I do want this team to run the ball and feature Breece Hall. They don't need Aaron Rodgers throwing 40 times a game. They don't need him to throw 40 touchdowns this year. If Aaron Rodgers gives the Jets his 2019 season, he'll sign for that now. Look up his stats. 2022 be one of the greatest years he's ever had. Jet quarterback has ever had, and I think he'll be better than that. I think he's somewhere between 2022 in Green Bay and one of his MVP years in Green Bay, which is better than top 10. But I'll play it safe and say he's still a top 10 guy. I don't think it's that hot of a take. He's Aaron Rodgers. Bet against the all-time greats at your own risk. People said Brady was washed too. Look what he did. And the great ones always respond when they're challenged, like Aaron's been challenged. And for everyone saying, well, you know, he's got to stay healthy. I mean, he already had this remarkable recovery from this injury. He would have played last year if the Jets were in contention. I promise you. Joe Tippmann told me that. CJ Mosley told me that. They were just out of it. It made no sense. He was coming back. So he's already 100% healthy. We know that. He's full go at these OTAs. Just shows you that he might be 40 by age. His body's not 40. Not with modern medicine. Not with the way you now could get treatment year round. So I'm not concerned the way Greeny is. I think McAfee's explanation actually was the perfect way to explain it. The Buffalo Jet fan will be joining us in just a little bit. We'll get his take on that. Right now, though, your calls on the Gusbuster hotline, comments, questions, super chats will cut the line. Turn gift receipts on. You never know when somebody is going to gift you a channel membership so you could officially be an Asmaniac. First comment I see is from Mike, who says, if we win the Super Bowl, I'm getting a Jets tattoo. Let's do it. Mike, I hope the Jets win the Super Bowl so we can watch you get a tattoo. You got to do it live on the show, though. Those are the rules. All right? Jets win the Super Bowl. The next day, you're at the tattoo parlor, and you're getting a Jet tattoo, and we're watching it. Robert says, we need Greenberg on the show. I got some news for you, Robert. Greeny will be joining us. Stay tuned for a confirmed date. He was on with us last year, and we will have him on again before the season, so stay tuned. Comments, questions, super chats. Gusbuster hotline is open. First up on the hotline is Joe the Jet. Hello, Joe.
Hey, Jake. How's it going? Just settling in my new house, which I moved into not too long ago. I just want to bring up the fact that I'm very excited about this season, but I don't know. There's something about that video that gets my OCD, pumping a little bit about that Aaron Rodgers video. And I don't know. It triggers too much flashbacks, man. I just can't take it anymore. I just want the season to get started, and I just want Aaron Rodgers to start slinging it. But I don't know. So can you give me some reassurance a little bit and just making sure that it's not as big of a deal as what everyone's just making it out to be, that one video?
Who's making it a big deal other than Dolphins fans and Bills fans who have negative brain cells trying to celebrate another man's injury? Pat McAfee told you he spoke with Aaron Rodgers. It was a foot blister. You could see he never took his helmet off, Joe. He's sitting there still going over the playbook. He's 100% fine. He finished practice. There's videos of him slinging it to Kenny Yeboah for a 40-yard touchdown down the field.
I know, man, but my OCD just can't take it, man. I get too worried about this stuff. I mean, just all this stuff just it gets me a little riled up and a little worried, but we're bruised and battered. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff to get worried about. But I hope he'll be healthy throughout when the season starts. And I'm not gonna lie, sort of looking back at some of the things that have been said the past few weeks, like Robert Saleh getting involved with the offense. There's a lot of great defensive coaches in the past had never gotten involved with the offense before, and that's what led to them, getting fired. For example, Rex, he never got involved with the offense as much, and that sort of led to his downfall. So, what do you think of how big of a deal you think it is that Salah's getting involved with the offense and sort of dipping his toes on what the problem was with the team last year?
I think it's a good thing, Joe. I think it's a good thing because I think he can offer a unique perspective that could help Hackett and Rodgers, and so it makes sense to me. And I think the thing that Salah could provide is, hey, we're playing, let's use a random team on the Jets schedule. We're playing Indianapolis this week. If I was the Colts DC, this is what I would do to try and scheme against these plays that we run in our offense. And Aaron could go, oh, it's good to know. That's super helpful. So I think that's valuable. There's a great documentary that NFL Films did on Belichick for the 2009 season. They followed him around for a full year. He gave him unprecedented access. And you could see the meetings he'd have with Brady every week at the beginning of the week, going over what the game plan would be that he thought Brady would face. So there's value in that.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's very, I gotta admit, I'm very comfortable for what we have at the left tackle position now. Hearing that, Tyron Smith is mentoring Olu Fashanu, I'm excited to see, Tyron Smith get out there and do his thing. And, it's great to have an insurance plan in place for Tyron Smith if he gets injured, because he doesn't really have a great, injury history, and bringing a guy like Olu definitely earns to his benefit learning behind a guy that's a Hall of Fame worthy left tackle. And, for the first time in a long time, I'm very, okay of what we have at the left tackle position.
Now, Joe, let me ask you a couple questions here because I agree with you as far as the depth at left tackle. You just moved into a new house, correct?
Yep.
Does it not come with electricity?
It does. I mean, I know the lights are off, but I know it seems like I'm in a darkness retreat right now, but no, it's just the lights are off right now. I'm in a theater room actually. So, yeah, no, it's very cool.
Are you in a box?
No, not a box. It's not like a box. It's like a separate room from the basement. So in a weird way, it's like a basement, and it has like a separate like little room, which is a theater room, and it has like a ginormous projector screen TV right here. It's cool stuff, you know what I mean? It came with the house and everything. It was very cool.
I love it. Well, I hope you get to watch a lot of Jet wins in that theater room.
We'll watch it. We'll have a Super Bowl party, in here if that happens. You know what I mean?
Joe, all the love, man. I love it. I sound like Beningo after having him on today. Comments, questions, super chats. Holy hell, D's Nuts exploding for the people. Wow, how many memberships did D's Nuts just give? Sound the alarms.
Hey, thank you, Mike D's Nuts, for another gifted membership.
He's done it again, folks. Mike D's Nuts has gifted 25 memberships. Here we go. If you hear your name called, you are officially an Asmaniac. The big fella, Kyle Clifton, 3 siblings, OG Jet fan, Alfonso Stackhouse. Here we go, another 10. Gerbinder Sai, Whizzing Biggs, Wild Wave, Mario Rapallo, Perry D, Tony Goods. All right, here we go. Another 5 after that. Charles Sanders, D-Rob, Dan C, Raymond Coletta, Alex G. You are all officially Asmaniacs. We are not done. We have more memberships to announce. Holy crap. Another 5 here. Jennifer Tassinero, who just became a Patreon member yesterday. Thank you, Jennifer. Aaron R. Phenom. Well, hold on. There's more. Liam DeFranzo and Jason Picker. Boom. I think that's 25 names. Did I miss anyone? I don't think so. 25 memberships because of Mike D's Nuts. Look at this. Just memberships for all. A D's Nuts explosion. Unbelievable. Unreal. More of your calls right now. Let's go to Nate, parentheses Nate. Hello, Nate.
What's up, Jake? How's it going?
You ever think that Nate, parentheses Nate's a little redundant?
Well, I did it. My YouTube name is Nate, and then it asked for my name the first time. I put Nate, and then it popped up, and then you've been calling me Nate parentheses Nate, so now I let it rock since I don't have a better nickname.
Yeah, don't change it. At this point, it's part of the show.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Speaking of shows, shout out to Bobby. Bobby had an excellent afternoon show. I was able to see you and a bunch of guys on. Anyone that doesn't, it's a very different. I was able to interact with a lot of callers that I see on your show, so it's a different kind of medium that I definitely appreciate. And on the note of Bobby, I know Nick Shine has like a fundraiser going for someone to get to their first Jet game. I don't know if Bobby's been to a game, but I think it'd be awesome to have Bobby at either the home opener or your Texans game. And he told me in his podcast that he's like, I drive, I have a car, so I don't know. I'm sure I'd love to see him live at one of the events, at one of your events for sure.
Definitely. We will make sure Bobby gets to a game this year for sure. I know he's already planning on it.
Awesome. Well, football wise, I don't know if it was yesterday. Your show was kind of blending. Yesterday, 2 days ago, you talked about DJ Reed and Michael Carter. And I completely disagree with your DJ Reed take in terms of it being the more important position. Not only do I like Michael Carter more because he's just a homegrown Jet, late round pick, whatever, but I just think the slot corner position is a much more difficult position to find. And the whole, I saw people in the chat talking about the sideline boundary, and I would just DJ Reed's, I think, going on 29, 30 when he's going to be a free agent, and I'd rather not. He's going to demand high money, as we've kind of gotten the best value. I just think Michael Carter, we need to make, we don't want to have the Bryce Huff mistake made this offseason. Give him his money now. And then the same with Quincy. I want to talk about Quincy, where I want to hear his name being talked up about like that. He's on the same Garrett Sauce timeline as guys that are going to, what is he on, like a 3-year? He's making like $6 million a year. He's going to be up in the same Garrett timeline. Are we just assuming he's going to be re-signed for a good number? And also, what is that number? I know he's not an inside linebacker like Mosley, not going to get $20 million a year, but what number is Quincy going to get? And is he like definitely a Jet just because his brother's on the team? I never hear his name talked about with those free agents coming up in 2 years.
Well, Quincy still has more time, so it's like you're not really worried about him just yet. I mean, you'd have to look up the rate for some of the highest.
Timeline, right?
Well, but I think, but Garrett's going to get his extension after this upcoming season. Quincy's not.
Quincy after next year.
Quincy signed a 3-year deal with the Jets. He's now going into year 2 of that 3-year deal.
Right, so he's going to be a free agent following not this season, but next season.
He's going to be a free agent, not this upcoming year, but not until after the 2025 season.
All right, I guess I just want to think about
Garrett Wilson's on his rookie deal. He's a first-round pick. You're eligible to give him an extension early. It's a different situation.
All right, I guess I just wanted to put the Quincy thought in my head. Is like I want to make sure he's going to be a Jet for more than, I guess, than 2 years, as he's another jersey that just arrived too. So it popped in my head.
Well, think about it, Nate. I mean, at that time, once Quincy's done, CJ Mosley's off the books, and you could allocate funds to him. If they want to keep Quincy, if he's still playing at an all-pro level, I promise you they'll find a way to keep him. Will he get a raise? Yeah, he's earned it. But he's right now one of the best contracts in the league. He was first-team all-pro last year. So you need to find guys like that. There's value. That's what you got to respect about Quincy. He got paid and then got better. How often have we seen Jets pay guys and they get worse? Muhammad Wilkerson, right? They finally got a guy. He's not technically homegrown, but they developed him. They got him off waivers, and he got better after they paid him, which is a rarity in this franchise's history. Sonny writes in, RELAX, relax. Yes.
RELAX, relax.
Sonny, we can't relax when D's Nuts is gifting 25 memberships. Dave writes in, Jake, in response to the earlier video, I believe Nick Mangold should also be on the Jets Mount Rushmore. I love Nick Mangold, one of my favorite players of all time. He's been on the show many times. It's been on my radio show. I have the Nick Mangold jersey. You can't put Nick Mangold on the Mount Rushmore of Jets. Because who are you taking off? Mount Rushmore is only 4. If you're doing the 10 greatest Jets of all time, yeah, Nick Mangold, I think, is on there. But Namath has to be on your Mount Rushmore. Maynard has to be on your Mount Rushmore. Klecko has to be on your Mount Rushmore. And Curtis Martin has to be on your Mount Rushmore. Your 4 Hall of Famers. And that's not even counting the late, great Winston Hill. That's not even counting Darrelle Revis. So it's tough to find a spot for Mangold, and that's not a knock on him. And also, Kevin Mawai is in the Hall of Fame and played the same position as Mangold. Mangold's got to get to the Hall of Fame, which maybe one day he might. So it is tough. hit the like button if you're tuned in right now. Appreciate everyone who's watching the show. We'll be joined by the Buffalo Jet fan in just a little bit. So let me rapid fire through some more calls right now. Let's go to Rob, the Jet fan. Hello, Rob.
Hey, Jake. What's going on, buddy?
You tell me. You called.
Yeah, I'm just calling, checking in. I was checking out Bobby's show. Not bad. Not bad at all. I saw you on the show.
Oh, yeah, I made a guest appearance today.
A nice workout there you were getting.
Oh, yeah.
You on that was cool. His show was good because he just lets people talk about whatever, and he lets you stay on forever. So it's pretty cool. I gotta hop on one day, promote his show. You have to. Bobby's a good dude. As far as the other things, Jake, I agree. It can't hurt for Saleh to give his opinions to Aaron Rodgers about defenses and the way they scheme and stuff. It can only help the situation offensively for Hackett and for Aaron Rodgers. I don't see how that could hurt. I think that would help us immensely, because kind of like the way you said about Belichick meeting with Brady and letting him know, for years and years, obviously that worked out great. So I can only see it benefiting us. So I'm totally with that. I mean, I think it would be fantastic. And I think Saleh gets to learn offense a little bit better by doing that too. It can only help.
Yeah, 100%, Rob. I mean, it's a do or die year. They should exhaust every resource they possibly have. So I completely agree with you. All right, joining us right now for the first time since last week is the Buffalo Jet fan, BJF. What's up, man?
What's going on, dude?
We're talking about Mike Greenberg's biggest worry being Nathaniel Hackett. So I'll start there. What is your biggest worry about the 2024 New York Jets?
Most likely Gary's calling if we didn't get there yet. Yeah, probably it's the top of the list.
Have you heard his food takes lately? Have you been following? Oh God,
are they worse than the football takes?
They are somehow worse. I didn't think it was possible, but ladies and gentlemen, we made a song out of Gary's awful food takes.
Chicken doesn't go with pasta. Don't you know it's disgusting? Chicken can't go with pasta. Why? Because of the texture. Instead, go get yourself pizza at the closest Shell gas station, cause chicken don't go with pasta. I just discovered dogs are pets.
So just to recap, chicken doesn't go with pasta, right? So chicken parm, chicken linguine with some pasta, can't do it. Nope. And also, Gary famously said that he would rather eat gas station pizza than any item from either McDonald's, Wendy's, or Burger King.
No. What does go with pasta, if not chicken?
Pain, according to Gary.
Yeah, man. I mean, Hackett is. I honestly wouldn't put Hackett as my top worry. My top worry is just injuries. I think that if we're healthy, we're going to be good enough to overcome Nate Hackett. I mean, we've beaten it to death. We know the limitations of Nate Hackett. We're counting on him being the Adam Gase to Peyton Manning, or you mentioned last week the Byron Leftwich to Tom Brady, which is essentially, a glorified position coach who's relying on the quarterback to, run the offense. And at least the good thing about this year is you say, well, if Rodgers goes down, then we lose the coach on the field as well. And that's true, but at least Tyrod Taylor is a pro, right? The problem is last year we had, Boyle, who doesn't belong on a roster, and Zach Wilson, who is still trying to learn how to play professional quarterback. So obviously there's a huge drop off from Aaron Rodgers to Tyrod Taylor, but at least he knows what he's doing, and he's been in lots of systems, lots of different offenses, and he was successful with multiple coordinators in Buffalo there, and times under Rex, and then McDermott. So injuries are my main concern, because we're good enough to win the division even with Hackett if the offense is good. The offense is good enough. We might have won the division last year if we had Tyrod Taylor and normal offensive line injuries. So that's not my top concern. Now, maybe it's 2 or 3. I would say injuries number 1, and then probably coaching number 2. But if we're healthy, we're going to be a good team.
Completely agree. And I think unlike last year, this team's actually equipped to deal with some injuries. You know, like no one could survive their franchise quarterback going down on the opening drive of the year. But if Aaron Rodgers had a conventional injury, sprained ankle, has to miss 3 games, Tyrod Taylor is more than capable of going 2-1, if not 3-0 with this team. And the depth on the O-line is infinitely better with Olu backing up a Hall of Fame player and Tyron Smith. They certainly may be a little thin at receiver. Maybe one of these guys can challenge for a bigger role this year and surprise us. But like, just they're a much better roster than they were a year ago. Last year's team we thought was a lot better than it actually turned out to be, because I thought Lazard was better. I thought Cook was going to be better with Brees. Like, there were some things looking back on it, man, like that's why they weren't as good, besides the obvious with injuries. This roster is just much better on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I did a video, I think it was maybe last week, where I just went through like role by role for starters and then primary backups. And it's pretty impressive how many positions that they've gotten better at. I mean, you have to start with guys like, Joe Tippmann, right? Or Will McDonald, who you think will be better from year 1 to year 2. But your wide receiver 2 and 3 got better, because going into last year, it was Lazard as the 2 and Cobb as the 3. And that version of Randall Cobb that we had last year, rookie Malachi Corley should be better than him, right? Mike Williams, even with his age and off of the ACL, is going to be better than Allen Lazard. So you got wide receiver 2 and 3 better. You're going to be better at probably 4 spots on the offensive line, because I would take second-year Tippmann over McGovern, who started the year last year. And then the other 3 new starters are improved. And I mean, running back 2, is rookie Braylon Allen going to be better than the least efficient running back in the NFL, which Dalvin Cook was? I mean, probably. And defensively, it all pretty much stays the same. I think the only spots where I could say was a significant downgrade would be if they're expecting Clemens to fill the role of JFM. That's the only one I could think of on the entire roster. I mean, backup quarterback has improved, you name it.
Buffalo Jet fan joining us here in his weekly spot. We'll take some calls in just a little bit on the Gusbuster hotline. A couple super chats for you. First, Jetpack writes in, Jake.Asman. Love it. Thank you, Jetpack. Then Mike D's Nuts. He writes in, love to Buffalo Jet fan, following from day one. What a good guy. Before you signed on, BJF, Mike D's Nuts has already gifted 25 channel memberships in this single show.
Damn, very generous, man. That's awesome, Mike. Appreciate it, dude.
And anytime he gifts memberships, we do this.
Bang! Thank you, Mike D's Nuts, for another gifted membership.
How far the show has come.
we continue to evolve. Jetpack says, I'd swipe right on BJF.
Thank you.
Comments, questions, super chats for BJF.
Right is the good one, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while for me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. To quote Boy Green, Jetpack would make sweet and passionate love to you, it sounds like.
Hey. Okay.
Let me ask you about Robert Saleh being more involved with the offense. What's your take on how that potentially impacts things? Is it a story, a non-story? What did you make of Saleh being more involved? Because they tried to downplay it, but then once Rodgers said he's been more involved, then it's like, well, you can't really downplay it anymore if Aaron says that Saleh's been in the room more and making suggestions and it's been helpful.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have it both ways in terms of complaining that the offense is really poor. People say, oh, well, what's Saleh going to do? He only knows defense. Well, he's the head coach, right? And if one of his parts of the team is not up to snuff, which it wasn't last year, he has to oversee that to some extent. I can't imagine it's going to make the team worse. Now, he doesn't call the plays on defense, or at least he didn't last year. Ulbrich did. And then obviously Hackett will be calling the plays on offense. So he was billed as the CEO coach, right? So if one of your areas of the team is struggling, it's your job to coach that up. And we talked about how last week they tried to replace Hackett. I think they recognized their deficiencies last year. I've said it a bunch of times this offseason, but my favorite part of the offseason was that my biggest fear was that they thought 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers off of an Achilles was going to sprinkle pixie dust and, turn us into the greatest show on turf. And while, yes, of course, not having Aaron Rodgers last year, I think was the Jets' single biggest problem, not the only problem, but the single biggest problem. But it wasn't the only problem, right? And they got two of the new starting receivers. They got pretty much half of their starting offense is going to be different. And they tried to replace Nate Hackett and now Saleh being more involved. So that is my favorite part of the offseason, because I was worried they were going to have hubris and just say, you know what, Aaron Rodgers is going to fix all this. But they know that they needed to improve in a lot of other areas.
Mike D's Nuts is at it again, BJF. 5 more memberships. Are you ready? D's Nuts alert.
Bang! Thank you, Mike D's Nuts, for another gifted membership.
What is the context of that video?
Nobody really knows. It's just Gator made it. I'll play it. Here we go. If you hear
We're not
your
allowed to
name
ask these questions.
No. I just do what I'm told. If you hear your name called, you're now a channel member. Congratulations. L34GLO, Danny Marshall, Christian Cardenas, Tim O'Brien, and Jet Strong. Congratulations. You are all channel members. All right. What did you make of Allen Lazard's rough day the other day? I don't want to completely bury the guy, because for all we know, he was killing it at the other OTAs that the media wasn't at. But your thoughts on Lazard having a couple drops and every Jet fan basically saying, well, this guy stinks. He's basically the offensive version of Tremaine Johnson.
Yeah, I think my broken record stance the whole offseason was, okay, Lazard, not a wide receiver 2. We kind of all know that now, but him being your wide receiver 4 with Aaron Rodgers isn't the end of the world. But then when I did see those tweets, I was a little bit like, oh, I was triggered. I had like flashbacks from last year's tough. His hands are just so brutal, man. So that's the one part. And I think people bring this up. I'm sure you see it a lot of, we need more depth or insurance at wide receiver because Mike Williams, misses time. And then the primary backup outside receivers would be Allen Lazard and Jason Brownlee. And that's, definitely nothing to write home about. It's just tough because there's only so much you can do. And the depth that was out there, like, would I take Marquez Valdez-Scantling, gun to my head, over Allen Lazard or Brownlee? Probably, by a smidge. That's not going to change the outcome of our season. So it's tough when you have an $11 million albatross hanging over your head. You kind of just have to hope that the guy bounces back and can be decent depth, because would I rather have signed another pricey receiver over Tyron Smith? No. Over getting, Hassan Reddick? No. Over getting Morgan Moses? No. John Simpson? No. And they have no cap space. So with limited resources, it kind of just is what it is. You made a significant improvement at wide receiver 2 with Mike Williams. You hope with wide receiver 3, and it's going to be Lazard and the young guys battling it out for depth. And I don't know. I don't know who the Bills or Chiefs wide receiver 4 is. I don't know how much better than Allen Lazard they are. So just fingers crossed. But I'm not very optimistic on a bounce back. Like, people say he'll be better with Rodgers, which is true, but you got to catch the ball, man. And he had all kinds of drop problems in Green Bay. In 2022, he was force-fed 100 targets because when Christian Watson went down, they had the worst pass catching unit in the NFL. So Allen Lazard, really on a good wide receiver room, he's like a depth guy who should be playing special teams to earn a roster spot. It is what it is. He'll be cut next year. Hopefully he could be a decent wide receiver 4, but if he's playing significant time, I definitely have concerns.
I mean, ultimately, like, anything you get is a bonus for him. But like, here's the thing too. There's a scenario where if he's not playing well, he's a healthy and active most weeks. Because think about it. He doesn't play special teams. And if you're going to carry Herb Charles, if you're going to carry Jason Brownlee, you're going to have Gibson on this team. They all play a role on special teams, especially this year with kickoffs being more important. Like, there's a scenario where Allen Lazard is a healthy and active a lot of weeks.
Yeah. I mean, he was for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks last year. I wouldn't be shocked if Jason Brownlee beats him up. I mean, I can't think of skill-wise anything that Allen Lazard can do that Jason Brownlee can't. Maybe he's a better blocker and he knows Aaron Rodgers better, but I already have seen enough to trust Jason Brownlee's hands more than Allen Lazard. They're both pretty slow. So, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I still think if there's an injury or something, and if they can get a team to take any bit of his money in a 7th-round pick, I still think they would try and unload him. But you're right. He was in the doghouse, and I don't think he's going to have to play himself out of it. I mean, I've never seen Saleh that eviscerate a player like that publicly before, what they did with Allen Lazard.
Yep, 100% right. I have never seen a membership run like Mike D's Nuts is on these last couple shows. Another 5 memberships for Mike D's Nuts, but he's not done, because as I was saying that, I just saw he gifted another 5 memberships in this show, and sandwiched in that is Dre, who gifted 5 channel memberships. So, okay, here's what we need to do. Play every sounder imaginable and read off a list of names. Yeah. Here we go. If you hear your name called, D's Nuts gave you these memberships. Let's see. Where'd they go? Captain Jet Sparrow, From 3 Steph Gaming, Titan, Money, C Cap, your channel members. These are the ones from Dre now. NY Jets DH, Nando, Danny, Thomas Hibbert, Soldiers of God. You are all channel members. Unbelievable. It doesn't end. It just keeps going. Shout out to Dre for paying it forward. Mr. K writes in, Jake, I'll get tattooed if they make the playoffs. If the Jets make the playoffs, would you get a tattoo, BJF?
The playoffs? Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, you do the tattoo.
You got to win a Super Bowl to get a tattoo. Now, I have so many that I could just kind of sneak in and it would be no big deal. So maybe people would notice. But no, man, that's loser mentality. You got to have the trophy to get the tattoo.
I love it. Makes sense. I had Joe Beningo on earlier today, and he said he would buy the ayahuasca for Aaron to do with him if they win the Super Bowl this year.
Let's do it.
Let's take some calls now. Comments, questions, super chats. Keep sending them in. Talking all things Jets with the Buffalo Jet fan. If you're not subscribed to his channel, you better. And I'm still in awe over the line you dropped last week when you're like, look, if you're watching Jets content in May, you probably already know who I am. That was such a baller line because it's so true.
Yeah, people who are watching now are just the diehards. I see the names who are just in everybody's comments, and appreciate it. You guys keeping it rolling.
His fan base is special. I've always said it. All right, let's go to Dre first here because he gifted some memberships. What's up, Dre?
What's up, my guys? How you doing, BJF? Always good to see you, my brother. I'm actually, I don't know if I can get this, but like everybody in office is gone. Like I'm after hours and I'm waiting in here, and I was like, well, because I had some stuff I wanted to show off while I was here. So first, shout out to my man Snowball. He gave me this pin, which is the same pin that he gave Craig when we all got together. So I don't know if you can see that this is still in its original packaging. It's pretty awesome. So
that's awesome.
I keep it here at work just so I can see it and I look at it. Nobody's gonna touch my stuff. And also, a coworker recently gave me Curtis Martin. I don't know if I remember correctly. Curtis Martin. This isn't really a close likeness of him. It's kind of like they were like, "Hey, look, we're gonna do the best we can, but the jersey is enough." So I keep these things here on my desk, and that's it. I just want to give you guys a shout out. I'm about to move to my mobile now that I'm got my hat. I'm ready to get up out of here. Shout out to my fellas. Shout out to everybody in the Discord. Everybody, all the Asmaniacs. Welcome the new 5 members. I can't do a big like Mike D's Nuts, but he inspires me to do what I can. So I'm like, all right, I'll get 5. I can do that.
I love it. Dre, we're glad you're back at the office and you're doing well, man. Appreciate the call. As always, Dre just had a heart procedure last week. He's already back at work, BJF.
Hey, nobody works hard. Nobody does like Jet fans, man. We've been through it all.
That's right. That's right. Now, this guy is not a Jet fan, but we love him anyway. B-Mac up next. Hello, B-Mac.
Hey, guys. Buffalo Jet fan, big fan of yours. Been watching your channel as well. So it's a privilege to finally get on and finally get to talk to you. And of course, you, Jake. I'm a Packer fan, by the way. So, but the Jets are my second team because of Rodgers. So, but yeah, I do want to ask get y'all an interesting question here. On Get Up, there was talking about Rodgers and his legacy and what it would mean if he would win another Super Bowl with the Jets. Could he get him in a GOAT conversation? And they keep saying some things that rubs me the wrong way. Harry Douglas said that Rodgers hasn't been living up to elite status because he went to one Super Bowl and won one Super Bowl. And I'm like, well, 4 MVPs hasn't been living up to elite status. And then Kimberly Martin and Damian Woody said that Rodgers has underachieved in his career, which that kind of rubbed me the one way as well, because how can you underachieve when you've been playing at a high level like Rodgers has for like 18 years now? So what do y'all responses to those comments from them?
B-Mac, appreciate it. So I actually saw the segment. It was more so like what another ring can do for Rodgers. Not that he's underachieved. It's like if he wins another Super Bowl with the Jets, he can enter like the GOAT conversation was the discussion point. No one's catching Brady. I don't think anyone's ever going to like pass Brady in the amount of rings. Aaron's best argument is that he's maybe the most talented quarterback to ever play, but you still need that second ring. And I've said this, one championship with the Jets is the equivalent of him winning, say, 3 in Green Bay. Like, not all championships are created equal in sports. Mark Messier won 5 in Edmonton. We talk about the one he won with the Rangers. So it's like you slay the dragon with the Jets, it elevates you. So Aaron Rodgers, I think, is already arguably a top 5 quarterback of all time. I think he solidifies that with another championship and maybe enters the top 3 conversation with 4 MVPs, 2 rings, and one of the championships with the Jets, who haven't won since before the moon landing. Like, that's what I think he could do if he were to win.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he kind of like Mahomes is now, where Mahomes doesn't have the accolades, but it's like we have eyes. That guy is different than anybody to ever do it. And Rodgers was kind of Mahomes before Mahomes. Yeah, so Brady number 1, and I think, I don't know what, Montana, and then you have to assume Mahomes will finish in that top 3. So can Rodgers, can he leapfrog Peyton Manning? Essentially, I think maybe it would be the conversation, but to me, he's already top 5. He won ring. You've done enough winning. The stats and the eye test are off the charts, but like, yeah, I agree. It's kind of like LeBron James winning when he went back to Cleveland. It felt like that ring was worth more than both of them in Miami. Where if you went to an already made team like San Francisco, it wouldn't mean as much. So definitely one with the Jets is worth a couple anywhere else.
Yep, completely agree with that. All right, we trashed his food takes earlier. What bad football takes does he have today? Gary, up next. Hello, Gary.
Hang on, let me pause this. All right. BJF, you haven't been a part of this. I don't know, rehash this, right? What goes on pasta? Seafood, pork, beef, definitely lamb, clams. I guess that's seafood. Anything but chicken, right? Like, so my mom's from Italy, right? And like, it's not a thing. It's like a thing they do in America, but chicken and pasta in Italy is like, it's like, I compared it to asking for your steak well done. It's just not something that you do. It's like,
that's not what you said, though. You said it was bad. It was trash.
Yeah, because it's gross. That's why it's just like burning your steak. Or, cooking your steak well done is
once
gross.
Again, you try and finagle the argument.
There's no finagling the argument, Jake. It's the same thing to me. Asking for chicken on pasta is like asking for your steak well done. Like, who does that? Like, there's so many.
It's not true.
Cornrows in Italy.
No. It was just a thing, right? So like, I've always had like a flop of hair. So when you box, you can't really have a flop of hair because it'll fly in your face and it looks really bad for the judges. So I always put them up in cornrows. So every once in a while, I just kind of.
Your analogy is so bad trying to compare.
It's such a good analogy.
Getting steak well done is the same as ordering chicken with pasta. You actually believe that you're more.
What about chicken parm?
So if you want chicken parm, you can put it on like a hero, like garlic bread. That's good. I would do that. I just wouldn't put it on pasta. Like, there's so many things that you can put on pasta, right? Like the things I just named. Like, why are we putting? It's a weird texture thing. Like, it's just weird. Like, the chicken is like rubbery, kind of not rubbery, but it's got that weird texture. And then you're putting that with pasta. My mom would call that Marigan. No good. That's no good.
How about you have your own opinion?
That's the woman who cooked for me my whole life until I got married. Like, that is my opinion. And like, it's based on.
So you look down upon people who go out to a nice Italian restaurant and get chicken linguine.
I don't look down upon them.
Chicken franchise.
Do you look down at people if someone ordered their steak well done? Like,
does Brock Bowers know you're married, Gary?
That's a good point.
The Brock Bowers thing again.
Whoops.
Power boy.
It's all, his favorite food is also chicken parm too, which is a shame that Gary's just dumping all over chicken parm because Bowers loves it.
Chicken parm. I'm dumping on eating it with
A side of pasta, yeah. No, Brock Bowers actually told me, he goes, his favorite meal is chicken parm with a side of spicy, spicy linguine. How about that?
Why not put something that goes with the pasta on the pasta, like seafood, like clams or lamb? Like, why not do that? Or beef. Everyone likes beef, right? You like beef, BJF? You like pork? Everyone likes that.
Did you enjoy the song Gator made about your weird eating taste?
I did. I want to show it to my daughter, but she's playing with some friends right now. She would go hysterical. She loves it when you spin my head. Like, she'll make me come replay the show. Like, did they spin your head today? I want to see it.
Well, I can spin your head.
Can I get to my my football?
I'll let you finish, but hold on one second.
Did somebody say Brock Bowers?
I had a football point about Rodgers. I don't even remember what it was now. And I didn't want to do the chicken and pasta thing again, even though Gator's clip was. That's the best clip he's made so far. I really think that. I'm not just saying it because it's me. That's amazing, that work that he did there. I had a point about Rodgers, and it had something to do with the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl with Rodgers, and every team has injuries. If you're worried about injuries, you might as well not even go out and play, right? Injuries, it's going to happen. If Rodgers gets hurt for the season, yeah, that's going to change my calculus on whether or not they win the Super Bowl. They can still make the playoffs, though. If Rodgers plays half the season, they'll still make the playoffs.
Gary, thank you.
Chicken doesn't go with pasta. Don't you know it's disgusting? Chicken can't go with pasta. Why? Because of the texture. Instead, go get yourself pizza at the closest Shell gas station. Cause chicken don't go with pasta. I just discovered dogs are pets.
Yeah, he also learned that dogs are great pets too the other day. That was another one of his takes.
Yeah, I'd say they're firmly in the top 10, I would imagine.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike D's Nuts is done it again.
Hey, thank you, Mike D's Nuts, for another gifted membership.
We need the season to start. we need the pads to come on.
Luis Carrasquillo, Daniel Lopez, Pastor Edwin Ramirez. Also, there's something funny about it. Maybe a legitimate pastor getting a channel membership from a guy who's calling himself Mike D's Nuts. Anyway, Adams, all that. Riley, you are the first 5. And then another 5 from Mike D's Nuts. These went to Alex. Also went to, hold on, the names are just flying off the shelves here. Drew Powers, Isaiah Russell, Matthew Smith, and Devin Chaffin. You were all channel members. Mike D's Nuts also has a super chat. He says, Buffalo Jet fan is like, WTF did I sign up for?
I knew what I signed up for.
That's the beauty of the show. Look, I got a guy on the line right now that always talks football, so we'll get back on track. Cheats fan up next. What's up, Cheats fan?
Yo, what up? As it says, I'm disappointed in Butker and Ruggs. If you found out what both of those guys have done lately.
Every day the Chiefs have a new player getting arrested. So
well,
be careful.
dogs abuse dogs, and he abused his pit bull to the point where it had to be put down, and the Rottweiler was barely alive. And as a person who grew up in the ghetto, who worked with pit bulls, who helped take care of pit bulls that used to be in fight, who helped take care of breeding pit bulls, I just want to. If I was the man size, I think I would put him in a coma. And for Butker, the way he's bashing people for what their sexuality is, I hope he fucking breaks his leg and can never fucking play again.
Easy there, Chiefs fan. Family show.
I'm like, you don't like people suffer long enough to the Stonewall riots, to the riots over in Russia for gay and lesbian rights and all that. People suffer long enough, and you want to say they can't have a Pride Month? That's why I fucking hate Catholics.
Cheats fan. Family show. Family show, Cheats fan.
I had to leave the Catholic faith a few years ago.
I thought we were getting a football call.
It is about football. It's about these two idiots who want to, and he's a dog abuser. I'm like, that guy, I can't stand that. Like, you don't abuse dogs. Dogs are our children.
Cheats fan, did you mow any lawns today?
Oh, no, I'm off. I even told my boss I even told me if I had to come in today, I'm like, I had plans today. I had to get dentist work done. I had some dental implant testing that they're going to figure out what they're going to do for my implants. I found out that when the old man passed, he had an envelope with my name on it, and I can now get some dental implants, or I could choose to get a very, very, very expensive cleaning done.
All right. Well, Chiefs fan, thank you for the time. Yeah, not a whole lot of football there, BJF. I thought we were gonna get more from Chiefs fan.
It's one of those days, man.
more calls right now. Ken from San Diego. He's a great Jets fan. What's up, Ken?
How's it going, Jake? Wow. I don't even know where to start. The Chiefs fan with the dental implant testing. I have a football call, by the way. Gary, 3D boxing. He may be punch drunk. I have no idea what's going on with the chicken pasta. And shout out to Drake, cardiac champion. As someone who's gone through something, holy cow. I mean, guy had 2 heart attacks. He's on the phone. Amazing. But back to kind of football, what we talked about. Buffalo Jet fan, great content. Love your stuff as well. Love both of you
Appreciate
guys.
that, man.
I don't know if people realize that this is a quarterback league. And when people talk about coaching, and we listen to Greenberg and other people, and I like Greeny, actually, what team has a good coach that doesn't have a great quarterback? And I mean, outside of maybe Purdy, and Purdy may be Brady. I mean, he's a late pick who has tons of talent around him. But I mean, when you really look around it, last year, that's not a solid year. I mean, our quarterback room was the worst in the NFL. So, I mean, when you look at this coaching, Sean Payton's a genius until he doesn't have Drew Brees. He has less than a 500 record without Drew Brees.
Correct.
So when I hear the Jet fans jumping on Saleh, we had 4 plays with arguably one of the best quarterbacks ever. The GM let us down by not having, a good quarterback room. But let's just be honest. I mean, coaching in this league requires a great quarterback. And if you don't even have a good quarterback, I mean, look at Dallas. Horrible coaching. And I'm not saying that Dak is great, but if you put Dak on the Jets last year, we would have been in the playoffs.
They win the AFC East if Dak Prescott's their quarterback.
The Super Bowl as well. So I think people are way, way, way off when they always focus on the coaching here. And maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to get your opinion.
Excellent call, Ken. Go ahead, BJF.
Look, I mean, Ken sounds presidential compared to the run of callers that we just had before. Ken sounds like the smartest guy in the world. Yeah, I mean, we've echoed the sentiment multiple times, and it's not even saying that Robert Saleh is a good coach. I mean, I think you gave him a C+, and I gave him a C-, so I think we're in the similar ballpark with Saleh. But the quarterback is the most important position in all of team sports, and if you're arguing which is more important, quarterback or like head coach, just follow the money. Follow the money. Again, Jared Goff just got a signing bonus. His signing bonus, not his signing bonus, is more than the career earnings of Andy Reid, who might be the best coach in the NFL, has been doing it a long time. And Jared Goff is a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. Yeah, I would agree. You do find examples. There are more examples of obviously a good quarterback without a good coach than the inverse, because like Sean Payton or Zach Taylor, right before Joe Burrow shows up, what do they win? 2 games? Now all of a sudden Zach Taylor, he's a good coach. Yeah, because he's got Joe Burrow, and we all understand it works both ways. We get that. Sean McVay would come in and make Zach Wilson look better than Robert Saleh. We all understand that. But I only really think of Mike Tomlin maybe as the one guy in the NFL who's consistently had, winning seasons and a good, solid culture and a floor with a cast of characters at quarterback. But there's still, once Big Ben was out of his prime, I mean, there's still like a wild card and first round exit is their ceiling. So I completely agree. I think a lot of what people exaggerated what other teams did without their quarterback won last year. The Browns went 6-6 without their starter, and it was so impressive that Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year. So it'll be really interesting to see. And I think more than anything, just to get clarity, like, look, guys, if Saleh sucks with Rodgers, we're not going to be defending him. Like, no. He's going to be fired, and he's going to deserve to be fired, and that's going to be that. But I'm definitely be interested to see, okay, like how much of it is you have no margin for error because what you have a quarterback is so bad. And furthermore, if you remember 2022, when the Jets were playing all these backup quarterbacks, they had guys who actually belonged in the league, like an older Flacco, like Mike White, like Josh Johnson. They were coming in and they weren't winning a lot of games, but they had a functioning offense. These guys could throw for 300 yards. They could move the ball. They ran what resembled a normal NFL offense. But like Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle and what they had last year, I mean, maybe Zach at his best is a QB2. The other guys are practice squad quarterback. So it's not even like he had Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, or even Flacco or White from the year before. They legitimately had CFL level quarterback play for many games, and nobody is winning with that. Nobody.
Well said. David, up next. What's up, David?
Hey, Jake. Hello, Buffalo Jets fan. Hello, Asmaniacs. I'm a first-time caller.
Hey, welcome aboard, David.
All right. So Joe B said today that historically QBs called the game from the line of scrimmage. And if Rodgers is calling the game from the line of scrimmage, then I want some New York-based audibles from Rodgers. You know, like they had one in Philly, right? So we could have like MSG or Liberty or FDR, one Jets drive. I mean, maybe someone in the chat could the Asmaniacs could just guess some better audibles.
Well, so I think you're thinking of like play calls, right? Because Rodgers is his green 19 or green 18, whatever he says. That's
Exactly.
his cadence.
Instead of that, he calls, Joe D's nuts. I mean, hey, whatever.
That works. Let's think about this, chat. What would be a good cadence or audible or something Rodgers could blurt out at the line of scrimmage? We'll come back to you, David. Excellent first
That's
call.
all I have today.
All right. Great job by David there. That would be pretty cool if Rodgers had some New York themed cadences or audibles that we heard at the line of scrimmage.
Bowers. Brock Bowers.
Remember, Rodgers a couple years ago had New York Bozo. Remember that one? New York Bozo.
I've heard. I think it was Josh Allen who said Rex Ryan. It was one of it.
Is there a Rex Ryan
game? One of his checks, he kept saying Rex Ryan.
I like that. It's not bad. King Lowski. We'll get different Asmaniac callers. V-Man. Maybe that works. Weed says the Gary song is now stuck in my head. Thanks, Gator. Well, Gator's done it again, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of songs that are always stuck in your head, Bobby Midnight.
Well, you know that Al's a lion crap of crap. You should check out my new hat. The Jets are freaking awesome. Bobby.
Hey, Buffalo Jet fan. How you doing? Hi, Jake.
What's going on, man?
Hey, Bobby.
Good. What about if he calls that Bobby Midnight? How's that?
Oh, I would love that.
Oh, Bobby Midnight.
I don't think you would say it that way, Bob.
No, I know. I'm only kidding. Sometimes you guys ask me to say it in a sexy voice.
How about you say it in a manly voice?
Bobby Midnight. How's that? Good? Better?
It was better, yeah.
Okay. Hey, guess who came on my show? King Moski today.
Ah, the king.
Yes, he was. I enjoyed that. And guess who else? You gotta be unbelievable. Alan came on my show today too.
Oh.
No fighting, no nothing. We didn't fight at all.
I'm glad you kids got along.
Yeah, us kids got along. Yeah, we had a good time. Hey, Buffalo Jeff, and I signed up for your channel. You want to sign up for mine?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what your YouTube channel is, man.
Bobby Woodruff. Just click on the Bobby Woodruff.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing good. I got 69 more since I started, so that's good.
Nice.
And what's his name? Nick says? Oh, that's a good number. 69. You get it?
You talking about the Jets or?
No, that's my numbers since I started back doing my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I got 69 likes.
69 is a great number. You want to know why, Bobby?
Yes. Why?
The Jets won the Super Bowl in 1969.
Oh, yeah. That's when my brother was born. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like a year old when they won. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great year this year. I'm not worrying about a blister on his foot. Big deal. I get a blister on my foot too. Oh, I'm going to cry. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to cry for it.
Do you have a blister on your foot right now, Bobby?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it doesn't tickle. Hey, guess what we found out, Buffalo Jeff fan today?
What's that?
Because of Joe Big Ningo told us Jake has a girlfriend.
I do.
She's an actress. too.
Yeah, Joe B told Bobby and the audience today that I'm dating Emily Ratajkowski, so the secret's out.
Okay, so what movies? Entourage, you said?
Yeah, she was in the Entourage movie.
I gotta look that up. Is that really your girlfriend?
You heard Joe B.
Joe B wouldn't lie.
But is it really your girlfriend?
I'm not going to comment.
What? What comment?
I said I'm just not going to comment on what you're asking me.
We can't confirm or deny.
Oh, I thought you said. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Hey, Bobby, before you go, I have an image that's going to haunt you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Remember how you said you don't like Don Mattingly?
Yeah.
Well, look at this.
Oh, he's a Jeff fan?
Yeah. Now you got to like Donnie baseball.
All right. We give him a try.
All right. Good to hear. Yeah. Bob, thanks for
Well,
the time.
he didn't give that kid an autograph. I felt bad for the kid, you know. The kid was crying. You believe that Buffalo Jeff fan? He didn't even give him an autograph.
Who's that, Rogers?
No, Rogers would do that. Don Mattingly, the bum. But I guess to forgive him.
Bobby, when's your next show?
Let's see. Nick is going on tonight. Well, maybe after your show. And then you coming on my show?
I have plans tonight, unfortunately.
Oh, with your girlfriend, with Emily.
Yeah, with Emily, exactly.
Well, you know I love to talk and hate to tell you, Jake. When is your next show? Ellen is a cartoon character. Bobby.
What a call from Robert Midnight. Legendary.
Some of his best work, for sure.
Hype writes in with a super chat. Hot take, Salah's coaching record improves to 500. So he went 4. I'm not good with math. What is he, 18 and 30?
They'd have to almost go undefeated, I feel like.
Yeah. What? I mean, they went 4 and 12 or his first year, or 4 and 13, excuse me, and 7 and 10 the last 2 years. So what's his record?
So his record is 18 and 33.
Yeah.
So he's 15 games in the hole. They'd have to go 16 and 1.
Yeah. Which is definitely happening. I hope that super chat is accurate. Anyway, more calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the guest hotline is Bill. Hello, Bill.
Oh my goodness. How can I top those the Bobby and Chiefs fan? Oh my goodness.
You're doing better already, buddy.
Yeah, right. I'm very excited about all the all the undrafted free agents for this particular class. We have 3 linemen that can probably crack the roster, and I believe there's a couple of wide receivers there too. So Lazard is going to have his work cut out for him, not just for the guys who are already there, but these 2 undrafted free agents. I hear one of them is a speedster, one of the fastest college wide receivers. So, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yes, definitely Salah has to do a lot better job overseeing what's going on with the offense in terms of being able to talk to Rodgers and talk to Hackett regarding, this is these guys are playing defenses similar to our own. This is the stuff you got to look out for, and then this way they can call the plays that they need to. It's nice to see you for the first time and talk to you. In the past, I used to just type when it came to your show, Buffalo. So this is the first time I've actually been able to speak to you in person. So you're part Puerto Rican, I believe you said one time. Am I right?
Correct, on my father's side.
Okay, yeah, cool. Because Boy Green is half Puerto Rican on mom's side.
Okay.
And then of course there's V-Man and me, who are both pure Puerto Ricans, but we're both born here in the U.S. So I consider myself a New Yorker. But we should start calling ourselves Ricans of the Caribbean. But anyway, besides that, every time I see all those memberships coming in, and the first thing I say to myself is, get that Gus Buster umbrella out. It's raining memberships here.
There you go. You gotta work the plug in there.
I
And
love
then
it.
the video is like, I never knew gifting memberships on Jake Asman's show can be so painful.
Bill, thank you. He's gonna cover anyone who's ever watched a Jet YouTube show that might be Puerto Rican next. That's Bill's next call.
Well, reveal your Matt O'Leary is 1% Puerto Rican, I feel like.
Let me tell you something. Matt O'Leary invited me to his wedding, and I'm honored to be invited. It's the earliest I've ever received a save the date in the mail, though. His wedding is not till November of 2025, and I already have the save the date. I'm the best man at a wedding in March of 2025, and they haven't even sent the save the dates yet. Matt O'Leary's wedding is not till November of that year, and the save the dates are already out. That's wild. Love it.
So many. What could the status of the Jets be by November of 2025? God only knows, man.
Thank God it's on a Saturday. You know, that was the first thing I checked. I'm like, let's see the date here. There's no way Matt O'Leary, full-time content creator on the Jets, is doing a Sunday wedding. Yeah. No, he was smart. All right. More calls here. We'll let the Buffalo Jet fan go in just a little bit. Let's go to Tim from Fishland. What's up, Tim?
All right, Jake. 3 points. Number one, never take advice from somebody who likes gas station pizza. All right. When it comes time to food, I really hope that man walks around with dude wipes in his pocket or around anywhere excessively, because God forbid I feel bad for the person who's got to wash them whitey tighties.
Gas station pizza is better than a Big Mac.
Second, the national media had some things about Rodgers to say about with the GOAT. My thing is, right now he's between 7 and 5 top all time. Okay, if he wins another championship, especially with the Jets, that'll put him, I'd say, around 4 over Peyton Manning. Because you got to look at the way they judge quarterbacks. It's based off accolades. It's based off your stats. And a lot of people completely forget who has the best touchdown to interception ratio in football history. Okay. The man
Rodgers,
throws
baby.
four touchdowns to 1 pick in his career. All right. I don't know if anybody will touch it. Mahomes might. I don't know what Mahomes' trajectory is on that, to be honest with you. I got to look at it. But that is one of the most important things in a quarterback is protecting the ball. And a lot of people don't understand that. Okay. And then secondly, Jet fans, relax. It's a blister. I got blisters on my hands today. I'm going to tape them up. I'm going to get on Madden. I'm going to throw keyhole shots, just like Rodgers did.
Tim, excellent call. I mean, the blister thing is so weak, and what's so annoying? Like the moron Dolphin fans and Bills fans on Twitter are like celebrating it. Like they're scared of Rodgers, man. That's what that tells me.
Yeah, that's the only thing they're hoping for is that he gets injured, and especially coming from Dolphins fans, where it's like, dude, your quarterback is one more head hit away from retirement. So it's like for them to see Tua go through that and to be taunting the karma of the injury gods, like at your own peril, man. At your own peril.
Hype with a super chat. Bronx, hike. I don't know if Bronx would work for an audible or cadence, but I think Staten Island or Long Island would. Long Island. I could see Roger screaming that.
Massapequa.
That could work. Not bad. Farmingdale. All right. Let's see. More of your calls right now. Let's go to Tristan, who joins us now. Hello, Tristan. Tristan Ceiling Fan is actually joining us. Nope, there's Tristan. We can't hear you, Tristan. You're on mute. Can't hear you. Reset. Call back. Try again. We'll go to Jerome, the Packer fan, in the meantime. Hello, Jerome.
What's going on, my friends? What's going on, Jake? Buffalo Jet fan, what's going on? You're one of my favorite content creators as well, along with Jake and Richie. Y'all my main 3 I tune in and watch.
Appreciate that.
I think Robert Saleh, he has to go in this bag. If none of this works this year, he's gone anyway. So he has to go in his bag and just go down swinging. But I think y'all gonna have a good year anyway. And I think, it can only help. Him giving his input from a defensive standpoint to Rodgers and Hackett, it can only help. It can't hurt. But in any case, those are the kind of things. The things that's going on with him and Joe Douglas and the things that's been said about Rodgers, I think the team rallies around that. and that's probably going to give you guys scorched the earth Aaron, which I think you guys are going to get scorched the earth Aaron Rodgers. And for the other caller about Mahomes, that 4-to-1 interception ratio, Mahomes can be reckless with that ball at times. He's more Favre-like than he is Rodgers. So yeah, I think Rodgers got him faded on that aspect. And yeah, man, I expect good things for the Jets. I think this is a good year for you guys to make it happen. And I don't see no other reason why y'all made the necessary adjustments as far as plugging up all the holes you needed to plug up. The only thing I see is injuries being the thing. I don't think coaching, that's probably far down on my list as well. Aaron mitigates a lot of that stuff. So as long as he's upright and not injured, Rodgers, for years and years, he doesn't have a history of being injured. And so you guys, I won't worry about that as much. So I think y'all going to have a good year. And during OTAs or whatever, if something does happen, God forbid it happens, but we'll just bubble wrap them. That's all. We'll just bubble wrap them. And I look forward to a good year. I'm always hollering 14-3, beat the Niners. You guys can go 15-2.
Jerome, I appreciate it, man. We love the optimism. It's amazing. The Packer fans who tune into all the Jet content creators, at the beginning, they're like, why are Jet fans so negative? It's amazing. They've learned over the last year exactly why.
Yeah, there's a good amount of Packer fans who have tuned in, to me at least, I've seen, and who are kind of just like maybe still root for the Packers, but also root for Rodgers. I think that the scorched earth is a great term. I think just keep doubting him, and I know that people say, I don't know who, some analyst said recently that you're betting on an outlier because no quarterback has been really good. Only one other quarterback has been really good at age 41 or older, and that's Tom Brady. I'm like, okay, but only one quarterback has won an MVP at age 38 and older, and that's Aaron Rodgers. So if there's a guy you want to bet on to do the thing, wouldn't it be the other guy who's done the thing that nobody else has done? He's been the best older quarterback ever besides Brady. So that's the comp. I don't care how Matt Ryan aged. That's irrelevant to me. That's not, or even Ben Roethlisberger who didn't take care of his body, or Peyton Manning who had nerve damage and couldn't feel his fingertips, or Drew Brees who always had a lollipop arm and was on his tippy toes, shot putting the ball his last couple of years. So that's all irrelevant to me. Aaron Rodgers is on the field. The Jets are going to win a lot of games, and I think, can he be the 8th to 10th best quarterback in the NFL? I still think he can.
I totally agree. And the other thing too, no one ever brings up Brett Favre's age 40 season with Minnesota when they went 12-4 the year after he left the Jets. It's always like, well, only Brady's done it and he's an outlier. It's like, well, Favre also had an unbelievable age 40 season too, one of the best of his career.
Yeah,
and I
was
also
off
think
an injury.
Yeah, exactly. That was the point I was about to make. It's off an injury. And also, modern medicine's a lot different now than it's been. You're seeing athletes play later and later into their 30s, into their 40s now. And Rodgers is in excellent shape, takes great care of himself. And you just look at the fact that if there was any positive from last year, and there's no positive because it was a nightmare and the trauma we all still feel with that injury, it happened week 1. So this guy's fully ready to roll for OTAs. He's sprinting out there 100%. He's going to be ready to go, man. This is not a guy that got hurt in December and you're rushing him back to be ready for the year. He got hurt on the 4th play of the season. That matters too when you talk about an older player.
Yeah, and the fact that it's not his drive leg helps. I mean, will he be, I think, prime Aaron Rodgers, 2011 Aaron Rodgers could go get you. I think one year he was actually the Packers' leading rusher. It might have been the year they went to the Super Bowl and they had James Starks or whatever at running back. He was their leading rusher with maybe 400 or 500 yards. He's not going to do that anymore. He's not going to go get you that 3rd and 8 with his legs. But again, from what we've had, it's going to be night and day. We've truly never seen anything quite like it, even if it's 80% of the Aaron Rodgers, we saw a couple of years ago. Even the Aaron Rodgers we got in his down year where the Packers were bad and he had a broken thumb, he was seventh in the NFL in touchdown passes. It's crazy.
It's amazing, man. It's just his quote unquote down year would have been more than good enough for this team the last 2 years. Maybe win the division this past year, but certainly be a playoff team the last 2 years if they had Aaron Rodgers' worst year with the Jets these last 2 seasons.
What do you think the narrative would be? Say if Aaron Rodgers was a free agent or whatever, just like Favre, he did a one and done with the Jets, and then he signed with another team. people would be a lot higher on him. I think a lot of it is LOL Jets. I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah, the Jets have a stigma that they're the Jets, and that's why I always say remove the word Jets from the helmet and just look at the team. If the only thing you could say is if they stay healthy, they got a damn good team, because every team you could say if they stay healthy.
Yeah, or the fact that the Jets always win the offseason. Yeah, every team's fan base likes their offseason, but dude, no one was when we had Henry Anderson and Jordan Jenkins as our best defensive linemen, nobody was predicting the Jets to win the Super Bowl. This is clearly, like last year, there was a lot of hype and it went down because they lost our quarterback. So I don't know, man. It's just the roster speaks for itself. So if people are going to fade the Jets because of the old quarterback, and the Bills are going to be favored just because the Bills are the most likely team in the division to have the most games of high-level quarterback play.
Yep.
I think that's fair to say. So that they're going to be the favorites, that's fine. But I think if you tell me right now that all three starting quarterbacks in the AFC East play the same number of games, I'm hammering the Jets so hard to win this division. To me, I really don't even hesitate. Truly, I think they are, the way that their defense plays against Josh Allen and how the Jets got better and the Bills and Dolphins roster have regressed. I'm pretty confident that the overall talent, the Jets have the best roster in the division.
Well said. One last call, and then we'll wrap. Tristan, let's see if we actually could hear you this time. What's up, Tristan?
Hey, what's going on? I can't see Buffalo Jet fan if that's a thing for some reason, but it's all
John
good. They
Cena.
told me that the mic wouldn't work. If he's saying anything, dude, great fan, great show. Glad to see your short clips.
What do you mean you can't see him? Like he's not on your screen right now?
I'll send you a screenshot on Twitter later. But
okay. Well, he's here. Don't worry. He hears you.
All right. Awesome. So I got a serious question and then I got a silly question. Serious question is, what is I feel like the lowest depth that we have on defense is linebacker. Would you agree or disagree?
The depth on defense is linebacker? I mean,
yeah.
I think I'd probably argue safety.
So who comes? Jeremy and oh, there we go.
Damian Sherwood.
Yeah. What do you like about him? I don't know. I haven't really seen anything that I like on tape. He seems out of position a lot. Whenever he was on the field, he seems to miss tackles. That is what I saw. If I'm missing something, let me know. But you said that you loved him, and I was just like, this is gonna be the first time I disagree with my guy. So
well, I saw some film that Joe Blewett put out on him, Tristan, and I was impressed. I mean, he doesn't play a lot because obviously Quincy and Mosley have been out there, but he's made some plays in a very limited sample size. I thought he played pretty well in the preseason too. I don't know. I think there's some talent there.
Okay. I'm feeling you. He came from Auburn or Florida State, one of those two schools.
Florida. He was a Gator.
Originally a safety. I'm a Miami fan. I'm not doing that. Other than
I'll give
that,
you a U. Throw up the U, Tristan.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right.
That.
There you go.
What jersey is a must get this season? And I'm an idiot because earlier the conversation that you guys had where if somebody changes their number, you should be able to swap it out. I have a $200 17 Garrett Wilson jersey after he caught the pass in the preseason game, even after he tweeted that he was going to change his numbers. I got so blinded by that catch that I just bought that jersey. What jersey is a non-miss, and which one would you like? What jersey are you getting first this season?
Any current Jet player, Tristan?
Yeah.
Good question. I'll go first, BGF. I think it's Sauce Gardner because I think they're going to make him the highest paid corner of all time after the season. He's first team All-Pro the last 2 years. He's the most marketable player not named Rodgers on the team. I think it's Sauce.
Yeah. Well, my first question, Tristan, is can he play back up into your offensive line? Dude, that dude's a tank.
Yeah, you're right.
I would say under the radar one would be Joe Tippmann, especially if you're I think it's Drew from Jersey who has like the rules on Twitter of if you're over 35, you have to get like an offense. He's got like this whole breakdown of the rules of jerseys. Like if you're, a younger kid, you get Sauce or Garrett, but Joe Tippmann would be an underrated one because I think he can end up being like a Mangold level player, just a gritty guy who maybe doesn't have a ton of accolades in the NFL, but Jet fans will know and appreciate the work that he did. I don't know if he was confusing with Zaire Barnes, who maybe was out of position some in the preseason, because Jamie and Sherwood, to me, his tackling and being in the right spot at the right time is his strength. I think the unknown part of Jamie and Sherwood is his coverage ability and his range athletically, but his tackling radius and playing downhill. definitely very good. I actually am high. I'm high on both of the backup linebackers in Sherwood and Barnes, and part of that is because our guys can have shown they can develop talent on the defensive side of the ball. But I do think they're both kind of a poor man's version of CJ with Sherwood and then Quincy with Zaire Barnes. So I like the pipeline at linebacker. I would agree that probably safety and maybe even interior defensive line. I think the depth is more lacking than linebacker and corner.
I love it. BJF, thank you for an hour of your time, my man. You're the best. And, I'll say what I asked you last week. Where can people find you? But, once again, if you're watching Jet content in May, they probably
now it's almost June. Now it's almost June. So you guys know all of us. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. Mike, another one. That's awesome. Very generous. Jake, see you next week, brother.
BJF, one of the greats. Make sure you guys subscribe to him. He's awesome. And he's right. Mike D's Nuts, a channel membership to Michael Stipek. Unreal. What a generous day for the great Mike D's Nuts, who was on Bobby's show earlier today, which was awesome to see. Bobby's having everyone from the show on his show. Love it. K&D writes in with a super chat. Yikes, what the heck just happened there? I got to fix this soundboard. It's like spazzing. I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, let's try this again. Big up my G, Jake, and Buffalo Jet fan. Been so busy, but big up to the guys in the chat. Jet up. Let's get this 14-3 record. Inject that into my veins. K&D. Inject it into my veins. All right. I want to thank the Buffalo Jet fan for joining us. If you missed the beginning of the show, I gave you my full commentary on Mike Greenberg, who weighed in on what his biggest worry was involving the Jets. So I appreciate everyone for the support. I think there's just another super chat. Wait a second. Tristan, he says, I'll send my film in. All right, great. There we go. Love that. Anyway, appreciate everyone who tuned into the program. Check out the interview with Joe Beningo. If you did not watch it live earlier, we broke down a lot of things. One thing we didn't discuss was this.
Hey, Joe Beningo here. Now, I don't know about you, but for years, I struggled with grooming the family jewels. Oh, my God, did I have trouble doing this. You know what I was using? I was using this. I'm grooming myself down below with this monstrosity of a scissor. You got to be kidding me. And I was getting along okay, but I was never getting the results I really wanted. And then one day, things finally changed for good. I'm grooming myself down below with the scissor, and we had a little bit of an accident. Well, it was traumatic. The trauma, nobody wants to have an accident when it comes to the family jewels. There was a little blood. I even had to put a Band-Aid on it. Oh, God. It wasn't pretty. Well, thankfully, not too long after that, I made sure everything was in working order, if you know what I mean. But I said to myself, I'm done. Beningo is done. I got to find something better than this. So a good friend of mine came over one day and says, Joe, you having an issue grooming the family jewels? I said, yeah, it's been a problem. In fact, I even cut myself the other day. He said, you ever see Manscaped? You ever check out the Manscaped? I said, no, what the hell is Manscaped? This was the result I've been looking for years. And not only were the family jewels groomed to, I guess as close to perfection as you could get, but my penis looked bigger. And let's be honest, there's no guy out there that doesn't want his penis to look bigger.
Chicken doesn't go with pasta. Don't you know it's disgusting? Chicken can't go with pasta. Why? Because of the texture. Instead, go get yourself pizza at the closest Shell gas station. Cause chicken don't go with pasta. I just discovered dogs are pets.